There is no watertight, guaranteed formula for figuring out what belongs on your daily card. Instead, making the daily card becomes the process through which you discover your priorities in your current season. Hi, I'm Mystie Winckler, homemaker, homeschool mom, grandma, and author, and you've found Simply Convivial. Convivial means enjoying life together, and that's the kind of hospitable atmosphere that we want to create in our homes. My goal is to equip as many women as possible to become engaged, competent, cheerful Christian homemakers. One way that we do that is by learning how to properly identify and then choose our priorities, which change during different seasons of our life. So that's what we are going to talk about in today's episode. Grab a basket of laundry to fold and let's dig in. When you practice the daily card method, where you pick your top 3 most important things of the day, the biggest roadblock most women have is identifying what's most important. There are so many things that could be done that picking just 3 as the most important seems like a monumental decision that is just nearly impossible. And it's true that you might not pick what's most important on the first few daily cards that you do. However, it's actually working through that process of picking something and then learning that that's not what was most important that helps you hone the skill of identifying what's most important and then choosing to do it. So often we actually ignore the plans that we make because the real life us that's living in the moment, making decisions as we go, recognizes that the past planner version of ourselves was in complete wishful thinking mode when the plan was made. The plan does not fit real life, and so we learn to ignore our plan. The daily card helps us break out of that habit by giving us daily iterations in choosing what's most important. And no matter how good you get at the daily card practice, every day still is an iteration because life changes. And often we don't even realize how life is changing in the moment. It's when things start to not work anymore that it finally begins to dawn on us that things might need to adjust and change. But if you're doing the daily card and at least having some awareness of your life day to day and needing to identify priorities day to day, you won't go as long operating in a changed lifestyle that you haven't realized. You will be much more aware of your real life circumstances, and you will also be flexible and adaptable to those changes. Because the reality is that it's not just that we as women and moms go through different seasons of life that require different things from us. The early marriage stage is different than the new baby stage or any postpartum stage or half a dozen kids homeschooling stage or empty nest stage. These are all completely different scenarios where completely different items will be on our daily card. But more than that, even looking at just 1 year where our circumstances stay mostly the same, we still go through different seasons. We as women go through a different cycle every month. We function differently throughout a month. That's reality that we should learn how to work with instead of ignore and try to pretend is not our reality. Also, illness hits us unaware sometimes in our house, and that completely changes the priorities that we have and the things that our time needs to be used for on a day-to-day basis. And so we need a planning structure that can flex that fast. And that's what the daily card gives us. Because we're assessing each and every day and making small changes, just picking the top 3 for the day, these are low stakes choices that we get to practice over and over again. And so by iterating on those small changes that just are normal, that are just a normal part of family life, we have a basis then for iterating when larger changes come. And it's less intimidating and less scary because it's just the next step on what we have a lot of practice doing. We need to identify that every day is not identical, and that's not a bad thing. It's completely fine. So when you have a daily card and you choose your top 3 for the day, there are some days, maybe even within the same week, where you just need to hunker down and catch up on the backlog. And so laundry goes on your daily card. And then there are other times where things are humming along fine, or there's some kind of emergency, urgency situation, and you have to put that on your daily card. It's not a big deal which level of work arrives on your daily card each day. The important thing is going through that process of making a choice, of thinking about where your time should go. And then as you're moving through your day and you see those priorities that you've identified, you begin to learn whether or not those were good choices that you made, and you can try again for the next day. So there is no one right answer to, does laundry belong on my daily card? The answer is always going to be, it depends, not only from person to person, but even for the same person within perhaps the same week, because different days, different weeks, different months of the year, different circumstances require different focuses. And we can be flexible as homemakers, and we can give our family and our homes the attention that they need. So using a daily card allows us to practice flexibility and get good at it, making wise decisions, not only about how we use our time, but about how we assess how we are doing. It's not that we have to get everything on our list done to count the day as a good day. The point of making a daily card is that we are identifying that we are finite, that we can't do it all. And so we have just a few things that we have to be sure get done before we turn and focus on all the little extras or just regular routines that will fill out the rest of our day. Because it's also not that we are only doing 3 things. Of course, we're going to be doing much more than 3 things every day. But the daily card is a practice of awareness and identification, communicating to ourselves what really matters in this current day based on where we are, where our kids are, where the house is. We don't have to have a formula, and the same thing doesn't have to be on our list each and every day, but it also doesn't have to change each and every day either. There are seasons of repetition and seasons of going from one thing to another. As moms, we need to be good at being flexible and adaptable to the actual situation on the ground in our homes each and every day. And a daily card helps us. It's a tool where we can practice that kind of awareness and proper assessment on a daily basis so we get those reps in and can practice making better decisions each and every day. So during this Organize October challenge, we've covered calendars, your weekly dashboard, and your daily card. During the final week, we are going to talk about an interval plan, which is a big picture plan, but still a realistic time frame plan. We have to merge both of those. We can't think in grand annual terms as moms. It just doesn't really work for our lives. But we still need some kind of future looking plan, and I call that an interval plan. I'm excited to unpack that with you this coming week. Stay tuned for all of our Organize October events by signing up at simplyconvivial.com/October. You'll get email notifications with things to do, extra insights, and links to every episode so you don't miss a single one. That's simplyconvivial.com/October. And next up, we're talking about intervals.